moved down here in 2009. And, you know, prior to that, I had spent 20 years actually living in Manhattan, living in New York City and working in New York. When I was approached by Bloomin Brands, I had always been a huge user of their brands. I have two sons, and so we were always in Outback, we were always in Carrabba's. So I was a big fan of the brands, but I didn't know as much about the company. And I came down here and I met the founders and I met the individuals, and I fell absolutely in love with the culture of the place. I didn't know what to think of Tampa. So that was the big wild card, was how do you go from living and raising a family in New York and Manhattan to Tampa? And when I came down here, I was so blown away by what it was and what it wasn't. Tampa had this amazing duality of the resources and energy of a city, which I was used to, but also the warmth and the charm of a smaller city. I really enjoyed living and working in New York City, but it's so vast, right, that you're kind of one among many. When I came down to Tampa, the first week, my entire calendar was filled with the local business leaders, the mayor. It was a real trip. I mean, I never had obviously Mayor Bloomberg never called me to go out to lunch, but that's what I mean about big city resources and small city warmth and welcoming. I think I knew more people in Tampa Bay after a year than I did in New York City in 20 years. I always say I have the privilege of having a rewarding career that I love, but my family comes first. And so the big thing for me was, if we were going to leave Manhattan, they had to see themselves in Tampa Bay and enjoy living here. When I brought my two city kids down here, and they were 9 and 12 at the time, they were very skeptical, right? We lived on the 13th and 14th floor on the Upper West Side. And we came down here, and you know, after the day at the most beautiful beach in Clearwater, they're rabid baseball fans, right? So we went to the Rays game. I swear it was rigged, because my one son got a ball. They went down, they got all the Rays players' autographs, they're posing with them. My kids' eyes were like saucers, like a professional baseball player has just come over and say, "Hi, buddy." I mean, it was just this magical experience. We went looking for homes, and the houses here right on the water, the proximity to the water. You know, I took these two city kids home, and they were like, wow, that's pretty cool. Because Tampa is not one big city, it has these very interesting pockets that can appeal to different type of folks, right? So if we're recruiting young urban professionals, there's a great vibrant downtown in St. Pete, and they're redoing the waterfront in Tampa, and Hyde Park is charming, so it allows me to recruit and retain and motivate a more eclectic workforce, which is really what we want. Bloomin Brands is an amazing company, and I have just loved it. And you know, that's a Tampa born and bred company, 25 years and going strong here. I would have a very tough time leaving the area. I can tell you, I wouldn't be able to convince my 13-year-old son, who plays baseball 364 days a year, to leave the area. And so the biggest surprise was the adjustment that my family was able to make, because this was a very different environment. If I was to describe Tampa as a brand, I always think about, you've got the resources and the energy of a big city, coupled with the warmth and the charm of a small city. And that duality, I think, defines Tampa.